Alright, so I'm going to show you right now how to cut the line groove on the muzzle of your spear gun. When I say line groove, this is what I'm talking about. Basically, it's your shooting line and you want to wrap it from the forward end to the aft end of your gun, and there's a groove here to keep your line in place on the forward sight. I do this still manually. A lot of the things I do nowadays are done with the CNC machine, but this is one of the few things I still do by hand. This line groove up here on the muzzle. So this is a short video. It's really simple, and I use a really simple tool. I'm sure once you see this done, you could do it yourself. Really easy to do. So here we go. Okay, let's get started with this line groove. First, I'm going to show you what tool I use, and this is a 1/8 inch diameter needle rasp, and it's a lot like a file, a metal file, but it's meant for wood, and it's meant to take off a fair amount of material fairly quickly. Here you can see it's got a pretty good tooth to it. I'm not sure if you can see that, but you know, you could cut one of these line grooves, you know, within a matter of minutes. It only costs a few bucks. You can find them in fine woodworking stores, and it's well worth the money spent. And you know, with this needle rasp alone, I've probably cut a couple hundred guns. Let's get started. So first things first, make sure you got your safety glasses on. I make it a habit to wear safety equipment whenever I work in the shop, and so should you. So here we go. First thing I like to do is clamp up my gun nice and solid so it doesn't move on me while I'm cutting this groove. And here I have a woodworking vise that's it's got a soft plastic pads, so it doesn't mar the wood here or make dents in it. So just clamp down nice and solid, and then we can get started. Okay, so here we go. Now here's our needle rasp, and you can take a measurement from the nearest point to the shaft, but I usually just eyeball it. I take it about 1/8 inch from the shaft. You can also put a dummy shaft in your gun, and sort of kind of estimate where you want to place that groove. But I usually just eyeball it. I've done this so many times. So the first thing you want to do is start a little notch, and I usually use my fingernail to just start that notch. Just really gradually start it there. You don't want to be too aggressive at first. Okay, so once you have a notch, you can start taking longer strokes, and I like to cut it pretty deep first into the very tip of the muzzle, and then kind of work it down around the bottom side of the muzzle, and then go over up top, and then as you go, you sort of cut your groove really shallow first, and then once you have a groove there that you could follow, then you can take longer strokes and kind of smooth out your groove. You know, it won't be perfect all the time, but you know, for its purpose, it's fine. You know, it takes some practice. So here I am, just putting that notch a little deeper, kind of holding the muzzle to stabilize the gun. So I cut the groove about 3/16 to an 1/8 inch deep. It kind of depends on the geometry of your muzzle. If your line tends to slip out of the groove, and you might want to test it before you're done with the gun, just make sure you cut that deep enough so the line doesn't slip out. So here I go. Just kind of work it on the underside of the gun. Make a nice straight shallow groove. See that? Once I have a groove there, then I can take longer strokes, like I was saying. Apply more pressure. Work it around the tip of the muzzle. Now the rasp doesn't glide as smoothly when you start going against the grain. It starts to catch the grain. So what I do is I go onto the other side. Sort of blend it into the bottom side so that you have a nice round transition in there so that it doesn't kink your line. So it's roughly about an 1/8 inch deep. Somewhere between an 1/8 inch and 3/16. Yeah, I think that's enough. So there you go. Nice line groove.